Evening, folks. Welcome back to the view for the match day preview for Hull City versus Leeds United, and a bit of a review of the Blackburn game that happened in midweek. I keep mixing my midweeks up with my weekends. I'm not sure what day it is. I'm pretty sure today is Friday, so we'll get ready to get back into a normal run of things next week. I'm joined by Ben Locklocky Leeds to have a chat about both games. But before we get into that, before we get into that, let's just check in with Ben and see how Ben is. Ben, how are you doing? How's your week been, mate?
Yeah, good. Busy. Busy with work and stuff. Very busy. I've literally just finished before this, so I'll be doing it after as well. So I can't wait. Watching some more great football. But apart from that, and headaches, because that's what you get by staring at a screen all day. I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Had a decent week. Quite a quiet Christmas. I don't think I've been on since Christmas. Have I been on since Christmas?
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, nice quiet one this year with my girlfriend. So pretty good.
That's nice.
And Leeds have been all right for the most part, haven't they? So that always helps.
Yeah, they've been okay. Yeah, they've been fine.
Yeah.
Fine is a very big step from last Christmas. So I'll take fine. I'm getting a bit of stick for being late. Apologies, folks, for being late. We were having a chat about what we were going to talk about, and there's some stuff I want to share with you. And I wasn't brushing my hair, but I have been shaving my head. So that's part of another reason why I'm late. So yeah, I'm delighted to be joined by Lucky as I am always. And stick a like on the video if you don't mind. Just helps it get out to more people so they can see it. We'll get into the stuff that's worth talking about. But before we get to that, there's a little bit of a channel announcement that I wanted to share with everybody. We've been talking about merch to support the channel for quite some time, and we finally got it. So as of now, these 4 options on Back 4 are available to purchase. Back 4 is a Leeds a Leeds merchandiser creator who lives in Germany at the moment, but he's a Leeds lad, Leeds family, and he's done this with his kids. Gavin's his name. Gavin's been helping me over the last couple of weeks to get this. Now, he doesn't just have the View merch. He's also got Leeds United merch full stop. So there's a lovely range of stuff across their collection. You can just search by your favorite club or whatever's on here and then pick the one that you want. We've had to play around with the design on the channel as well. So we've got a nice little LU smiley for the View. And they're all available there as well. The link for them, if anyone is interested, is down below in the description for this video. And if you're going to buy anything else off this channel, they're all very good prices. He's got some stuff on other clubs as well, but the lead stuff, like there's some Tanaka stuff in here somewhere if I can find it. Here we go. There's some Tanaka stuff there. Good choice of colors. So if you use the link down below for any of that, that will help support the channel as well. So more to come on that when we get to it in the future, but they're live right now, and it's a big step for the channel to get there because we've been talking about it for so long. But that's in the back. And the final update, we will have a live watch along tomorrow over on the BIGUP platform. The link for that is also down below in the description, as well as the link for Lockie's channel as well. If you want to go check any of that out, you can. All the links are there for your viewing pleasure. Right, let's crack on. We'll start off with looking at the Blackburn game and talking about that, because there was lots of talking points. A game where Blackburn, in my opinion, defended incredibly well, had a very well-structured, well-organised block that was disciplined. Nobody tried to break that block. Nobody got impatient, and they did their jobs until Leeds got a penalty. And then, unfortunately, Dan James goes to sleep for a split second, and they score an equaliser. So a frustrating game by the end of it, but a game that, for me, Lucky, that had a draw written all over it, looking at how the game was going, and a draw that, up until we scored, I probably wouldn't have disagreed with. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, first of all, I want to apologise to Ampadu and Rodon, because I said it was one of their men, but it wasn't. It was Dan James. And he left his man like most wingers do, to be honest. Yep. Wingers are not there. They don't enjoy heading the ball. I tell you that from experience. So, but yeah, he made a mistake and it's on him. But what I will say for the goal, we vacate the central area. 2 or 3 of our players just leave it, which is terrible. So there's more than one person to blame for that goal for sure. But
yes,
yeah, Joe, it was, honestly, I think I expected that. I think I expected something like that. I didn't think we'd create loads of chances. I didn't think they'd create loads. I knew they'd fight. They'd waste time when they needed to. We knew what we were going to get with it. Extremely organised. To be honest, probably one of the most organised teams in the league.
Yeah. Not
the most expansive or the most exciting, but an extremely organised team. And that's what Eustace does. He organises a team. He don't go to win 3 or 4-0. He don't care about that. He wants to win the game or get a point at least. And that's why they're always up there, because, they don't lose every week. They grind stuff out. And look, I see people online, that think you can only play football by passing it 3,000 times, saying it's not even a great manager and this stuff. The fact of the matter is, there's more than one way to play football. And look, that's another way. And fair play to him. I've been part of teams, Joe, that have played like that. And when you pull something off like that, you love it. You love it.
Yeah.
It's good. So full respect to them. I have to say that they were very good, I thought. And we weren't great. I didn't think our movement was very good in the final third. We hesitated a little bit on the ball.
Yeah.
When you're a team that organised, you've got to be quick, haven't you? The decision in your brain has to be, it's there, go for it. If you don't come off, win the second ball, go again. We didn't do either of those things for me. So that's why it was very lack of ideas, lack chances. There's not many teams that, we've created little against this season. Not many. But Eustace is the guy that stops us doing that. So fair play.
Well, there was no way to get through the middle because of the block. We tried. You couldn't get through the middle of that. So the only avenue was around the outside. And I think we've been guilty this year of taking too long to switch to play at times where there is space. And there was a couple of times in the second half where I thought Leeds had bodies over on the left-hand side where they could have got the Bayern in the first half specifically a lot earlier than they did. They didn't, though. But I thought Leeds grinded and grafted, and I thought it was going to be that kind of a game. It wasn't an overly physical game. There was a couple of little niggly things going on off the ball, but I thought it was going to be a case of someone makes a mistake or a set piece, and as it turns out, it ends up being 2 set pieces, the penalty, which I thought was that penalty been given against Leeds, that's a bit harsh. Both players going for the ball at the exact same time. I would have thought that was harsh, but we take it when we can, and we got the lead, and it was a nice penalty taken by Stroke as well, and then the mistake happens for the goal. But I want to talk about a couple of specifics in this game, Lockie. There's things that popped up. I know you've got some stuff that when we start talking about it, just let me know and we'll throw it up on screen as well. But one of the big talking points for me was the decision around the fullback change, especially given the halftime change. Sam Byram goes off at halftime. We're told he was exhausted, and that's probably to be expected. Sam played 6 matches in a row at that stage, and we're told more than 2 is a problem for him fitness-wise. So he comes off, and Max Verber comes on left back. Now, Max Verber's been out injured for the last couple of weeks, hasn't been available. You would have thought Isaac Schmidt was the obvious option. Frank has talked before about the fact that Schmidt gives him an attacking option, whereas other players give him a defensive option. This was a game where Leeds were at home attacking from our game than Blackburn, but he goes with Verber. I can't complain about Ferber's performances when he's been at left back. I think he's been fine. He's been very, very good. Arguably was unlucky not to score as well in that game, and he does pop in the left back in good positions. But then Jayden Bogle goes down on the right-hand side with a dead leg, and he comes off the park, and you're thinking, it's Schmidt. Schmidt's sent off to warm up. He goes off running down the line, and as he comes back, Ethan Ampadu's taking his tracksuit off, and you're going, what's going on here? Then we see Rothwell and Nonto both being taken off, but then he changes his mind, and Rothwell stays on. And for me, Leeds go into a back 4 with Max Verber very high. But Ampadu doesn't go high. He doesn't support Dan James anymore. Dan James now gets doubled up on, so he can't get any joy trying to cross the ball. He can't get in behind because he's got 2. And there's no option to come back or an overlap because Ampadu's not pushing forward anymore, and Bogle was. That avenue dies. Farkas said in the press conference that he went to a back 3. And I'm not 100% sure that we did, but I wanted to get your eyes on this as well, because it's either a very right-focused back 3 or it's a 4. But I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Lockie, because you're an analyst. This is your job to analyze these things. And I'd love to know what you think about the situation.
Yeah, so I know we were talking about this a little bit before, weren't we, Joe? We disagreed a little bit. But I think it's a matter of, and I'll get a graphic up in a minute to show what I thought. Sure. But I just think, whatever it was, the problem for me is, if it was a 3 with 2 wing backs, the problem is those wing backs, if it was that, are Dan James and Voba. Dan James is a winger. Voba's a centre-back, playing wing-back, regardless. Even as a high full-back, he's a centre-back. You're never going to get the balance right. That's the thing for me. And it's the same issue with Ampadu at centre-back, good player, but he's our 6. That's the issue with a winger in a 10, good player, but they're not the wingers. It's square peg round goals, isn't it? And when you have a player that isn't quite that position, they can play well, but there's little imbalances in the squad, and I'll bring it up now, Joe, as well.
Go for it.
Just kind of what I saw.
Because we can have an opinion. Like, my opinion is based on what I saw at the time. Everyone else's opinion is based on what they saw at the time. So having a chance to look at it in a more static view, I think, helps us to make sense of what Daniel Farke is actually talking about.
So this is kind of what I think it was as a base. So you had this. Obviously, Ampadu was very wide. Rodon was central. Strat was very high on the left as well. Now, and this is obviously when the subs were made, when Nonto came on. I think it was a matter of this. James was really high. Voba was high, but not as high as James. It kind of looked in balance.
Hmm.
Now, I put that down to two things. Again, James is a winger, so he's going to stay naturally high. If he's been told to play right wing back, he's still going to play high. Foba's a centre back. So no matter what we play, this guy, he's not going to style up here because he has no idea what that means or what that is. And he's slower. We created combinations out here with Nonto, whoever it was, Joseph or Bamford, and we do that. So that was kind of the idea. But yeah, Ampadu didn't really leave the halfway line.
No,
so for me, it's kind of like you're playing sideways. It's really strange. If you tilt your head that way, you can kind of see the back four. But if you tilt your head this way, it's a back three.
That's where I was looking at it from going.
Yeah. Because at the end,
just based on how close to the sideline Ampadu was playing, that to me was there. Well, he's a fullback because he's right over on the sideline. He wasn't always, but at parts.
But for me in the first half as well, the difference we usually build up with a back three anyway, but it's different. It's Tanaka will drop in. We won't have an extra defender, so it'll be Tanaka in there usually, right? He'll make the back three, and then there'll be another midfielder in here, whatever, a bit like that, 4-2-3-1 like that. It doesn't matter who it is, ignore who the people are. Be a bit like this. Tanaka would drop in there, or Rothwell would drop in there, and we'd try to build up.
Yeah.
But Tanaka wasn't. Tanaka stayed in front of them in the second half, which made me think maybe that was the plan. You've got an extra defender in there. So it kind of looked a bit more like this. Tanaka was the only deep one. Nonto was kind of running these channels. Aronson was kind of running these channels. These two were definitely both up top. So, yeah, like whatever it was, for me, it wasn't balanced. And for me, that's down to the personnel. We don't have wing backs playing or whatever. Foba is a centre back who could maybe play left back, but he's not an attacking left back or a wing back. Dan James is a winger. He's not a right back or a right wing back. He's a winger, a wide winger.
Yeah.
It makes imbalance for me. So that's all I want to just show.
No, I appreciate that. And I don't mind people disagreeing. That's okay. That's why we have these conversations, so we can get different perspectives on it and different information that we don't always have. But yeah, you mentioned two things there, Lockie, that I want to jump into a bit more. And the first one was extra defender. Given the flow of that game and Leeds being the home side, was that something Leeds needed to do at that moment? Like it was add an additional defender.
I don't think we were troubled. We didn't. I don't think we were troubled, to be honest. I think any trouble came from set pieces, which I guess maybe you could say, an extra defender in there. But what's the game? What's going on? If we're dominating possession and we're dominating the ball, or if we weren't at the time, then bring on a more possession-based player. If you're up against it and there's pressure on and you want to play counter-attack, maybe bring on an extra defender so you're better in set pieces and you play the counter. But again, we had Voba as our left-sided left back. So left-sided left back, obviously, not right-sided left back. So that created imbalance. And like you said, it's not Voba's fault. Voba was good. He played well. But you can tell he's a centre-back playing left-back.
Yeah.
And this is the same for Nonto in the 10 and all this. I get it. It probably could do good things there. But there'll be instances in the game where you can tell it's a guy who doesn't play that role playing there. And this is the problem with the squad I have is, exactly. We brought Rothwell off. You need someone to maintain the ball and get forward with it. And we took him out. And we had Nonto and Aronson in the two in there that were going up and down. And the connections weren't there because at the end of the day, they didn't never play together in that role. They don't really understand the role. That's not the role they're used to. It's difficult for any football to adapt. So I'm not blaming them. The setup they told to do, they probably didn't understand.
Yeah.
Fully. Even if you worked on it, you've definitely not worked on it a lot because you don't play that formation. So you won't be as good in that formation as a 4-2-3-1, for example. So it got a bit messier, I think, was maybe in time, a back three will be really good and we can work on it more, maybe. But it needs more work, I think.
Well, before we get to the back three conversations, I know there's another topic we want to talk about potentially incoming to the squad. We'll get to that in 2 seconds. But I wanted the other thing you mentioned there as well was a point that I wanted to jump on because you've said it, I've said it, square pegs, round holes.
Yeah.
This Leeds United squad, pretty much across the board, has 2 players in every position or can play 2 players in every position with a few tweaks.
Yeah.
Leeds United have a fullback on the bench, an attack-minded fullback who was playing European football at the start of this season, who scored in the European competition at right back before he came to Leeds. has played less than 45 minutes of football since he's arrived, and has seen a centre-back who's demanded to leave the club, come back to the club, been injured and suspended, the other fullback be suspended and injured, and the right-back get injured, and has had to watch while a central midfielder and a centre-back take up the positions in the fullback position. Most managers across the board will always prefer round pegs, round holes. And you'll in fact hear managers complain when they don't have those options and they're not going well. They'll say, well, look, we had to play square pegs and round holes today, and that's what you get. Barca has that option, but yet he still chose the square peg and the round hole. And the comment that he made that I scratched my head about was he wanted his captain on the pitch. And I don't think that's relevant to the game because he's got 2 vice captains on that pitch and Leeds were top of the table without Ethan Ampadu. Was it needed to have him on the pitch to make any difference? Because I don't think Ethan Ampadu made any impact at right back.
Yeah, and again, not his fault. He's not a right back. It's what you know. He's good on the ball. He's Ampadu, but he's not a right back. And you could tell, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but I like Ampadu. He needs to be a 6, doesn't it? But yeah, that's the problem. That's the issue for me. I'm looking at. I did a video earlier. And I showed Burnley's squad. Every one of their reserve players in each position is that player. Our reserve centre-back is Ampadu, who's a 6, a main player in our 6. So in order to play, if you're playing him at centre-back, you're taking him out the 6. That's not backup for me. Backup is someone who is a defender who can come on in that role.
Max Ferber.
Voba, who's playing at left-back. Shouldn't be the backup left-back. Should be a left-back. Do you know what I mean? So our depth it's depth, but you have to move a piece in the 11 in order to get it. I don't think that's right. I think there should be a spare man for each position. I look at Burnley, they had like eight centre backs, they have like 5 midfielders, they have like 6 wingers. You know, if one of them gets injured, they bring another winger in. You don't have to change 3 things around. So it's an issue for me. And with Schmidt, honestly, I don't know the situation. I've been very defensive of it, as in the sense that we don't know if he's not up to level at training, he's not had his time yet, he trusts Byron more, whatever, which I understand. Of course you would, you've known Byron for years, but this was without any fullbacks. Now this is the point where you brought him in the summer, so whether he was 4th or 5th choice, this was the 4th or 5th choice, and he still
exactly right.
That's the issue right there. And you look at what Ampadu did when he came on, and you're thinking, would Schmidt have been worse? Would he? I don't think he would have. I don't think Ampadu had much to do on that right side other than play with the ball. I don't think he had many duels to do. We dominated the ball, and he's good in possession. Is Schmidt? He's a good player in possession. He moves well. So it didn't. I don't know what it is. There must be something. There must be. You go back to when we signed him, right? So every other player we could argue this season who we've signed has been a good signing, done really well. When they've come in, they've done the job. Ramazani was unreal before he got injured. Rothwell's been unbelievable. Tanaka's been unbelievable. There's a few others I can't remember. Aronson, obviously, he came back in. But for me, the Schmidt one's different. Gruev came in last season when we had injuries in midfield. Now, we didn't have any injuries in midfield until that point, so we were fine. But then he came in and kept his place. We've got injuries at both fullback positions. Yet our fullbacks are a centre-back and a CDM in front of a fullback that you brought in to be a reserve fullback. So the question is either, and I don't want to speculate, but it must be either he's not the right player the manager doesn't want, in which case, did they get that wrong when they were signing him? Did the manager want him? Or was it a club saying, no, trust me, bring him in, he's good? Or was it a matter of not judging correctly the type of player you brought in? Or, profile. And I don't like saying this because we don't know, but is he just not as good at training as what you expected him to be? These are kind of the 2 things it has to be. He's not just like, doing the old, the time will come. This was the time, and it didn't come. So I don't know, Joe, what do you think about it?
Well, as Vega's saying it there, at the very least, he'd rather change his formation, which he never does, than play Schmidt at left back, which I think is an incredible thing. And I agree with that. I mean, I looked at it and thought, Leeds need to keep going wide. We have to get in around the back of them if we're going to get anything from this game. So therefore, the overlapping fullback makes perfect sense. Reducing your wide options to a single player in that game and stacking the middle, which was already over populated by bodies, didn't make any sense. And we do this sometimes when we're panicking to try and get a goal. We just throw everyone in the middle of the park. And I've said this before, and I've had teams before when you've asked players to go on attacking formations and they've all gone, you're like, you can't all go at the same time. Because if you all go, the player who has the ball deep, let's say it's Joe Rodon picking the ball up inside the halfway line, and Rodon's looking forward for options. If he sees 4 attackers and 4 defenders and another 2, and they're all overlapping each other like this, there's no space to play into. So he's going to check back, roll his studs, step over the ball, turn right, and pass it 5 yards to Strauch. Strauch's going to step forward, look up, and see Body's just doing that. And he's going to go back to Rodon. And that's just going to keep happening because there's no options. And for me, I thought we looked a little bit leggy because there was very little to no movement off the ball from players looking to get in possession of it. So when it went to those lads, it was a case of either find a mark out wide or just go back to Melier and start again. And that's what kept happening in the game. And again, I don't think it's necessarily all down to us doing things badly. I think Blackburn had a very, very, very good defensive shape. And the hope when you're passing around the lower or mid block is that one of the player will get ill-disciplined and step out and get impatient. And that didn't happen. They stayed and they held and they kept their distance, which is bloody hard to do for 90 minutes. But they did it. So for me, I thought it was a strange one to do. And then his decision and the comment again, I think Daniel Farkas sometimes puts himself in the firing line by making comments he probably doesn't need to make, or maybe it's a language breakdown or something. But saying he wanted to have his captain on the pitch. In the preview for the game, I said, will he have the balls to drop his captain to go for the more attack-minded midfield pairing who have been doing very well at Elland Road? And he did have the balls to rest him, but then got him on the park as quick as he could. And you're like, just because he's your captain doesn't mean he has to always be out there. You've got other players. Sometimes it doesn't need him. You know, if he's in the team every week, if he's established himself as the number 6, fine. But trying to squeeze him into the team somewhere just to have him on the park for me isn't the right thing to do for Ampadu, isn't the right thing to do for the team, and isn't the right thing to do for the game itself, because it's a square peg in a square hole, and it changes the style of play. It changes the attack style of play. All of a sudden, Leeds don't go down the right-hand side anymore. Now everything's on the left, and Blackburn just come across and squeeze it. And when it does go to Dan James, 2 players when Dan James got that done. And that's what happened. The first time I saw Ampadu go forward was after Blackburn had scored.
Yeah.
Then I saw him overlapping. I'm like,
that's when Strout was good. That's when everyone was forward then as well. Yeah, it's. Look again. I understand. Yeah, you want your captain to play, you do, but at what? Yeah, where's he playing? What's he doing? Is he actually impacting the game? I don't really think he did. I don't think it was needed. You look at the team, you look at the squad. Without, like you said, without Ampadu in there, we were still a very good side. Now, that doesn't mean you don't want him to play. If Ampadu would have come on in the 6, fine, cool. That's his role. He gets that role, maybe it would have been better. Maybe it would have built up differently. Maybe with him in that middle, dictating things, good. But he had little to low impact on that right side. I don't think he did at all, to be honest. And again, that's not him. That's not his fault. He's coming into the game and he's thinking, well, I don't know what I'm doing, really. So what's the other aspect then? Is he on about leadership, maybe, from that perspective? In that case, is Rodon, Strout, Rothwell, Tanaka, I could go on, Bamford, James, are they not anywhere capable of winning the game without Ampadu on the pitch?
Yeah.
That's the
question. And they have won games without him already this year, and they've had results against bigger sides.
Yeah. Like, again, I get it's a Eustace teaming, you need to be really mentally strong. Maybe he just felt he needed Ampadu out there just to, galvanize him. I don't know him personally, so I'm not sure how he is out there. It's hard to really tell. But from what we're seeing, and that's how we speak of it. We speak of it from what we see, right? We're not on the pitch, so we're not going to. I don't think it needed that change specifically. I think it just needed us to be better. I don't think we were good enough. I don't think the players on the pitch were. No one played really bad. No one played bad. I just don't think they were on it. They couldn't quite have the answers. They were very hesitant with decisions at times. The runs weren't good enough at times. No. I don't think the change with Ampadu coming on in that role really did much for me.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. And we'll get the man of Solomon as well. I did say in the watch along that if anybody was coming off to change the game, it would likely be Solomon. And that wasn't because he was playing badly, but because, like you say, Lockie, there were moments where balls were played where I felt he hesitated and he wasn't as sharp as he could have been, but Rothwell's also been mentioned in that bracket as well. There's an interesting comment from the official Zoom. The problem I have with Farke is that it takes too long to trust players. I think the whole they need to get used to the league is an excuse. If you look at other clubs, when they bring in new players, more often than not, those players go into their team pretty quickly. Farke doesn't seem to do that. And you would question whether if he's identifying the players for the recruitment team to go and get, or if the recruitment team are bringing players to him, and then when he gets them, he's like, yeah, well, I'll make my own mind up on that. But by which stage Leeds have gone and spent money on these players. So surely there has to be some level of, I want this player, so therefore I have to at least benefit of the outcome in it.
Yeah, and that goes back to the January stuff of we only want to bring players in who don't disharmony the squad. I don't personally understand that. I don't know what that means. You can tell if a player's a good egg or a bad egg by Farke knows a lot of people high up in football. He knows a lot of people. He knows if a person's a good personality. He can text someone he'll know within a minute. You know what I mean? So I don't think that harmony thing is a thing. Look, I'll be honest. I'm not gonna if Farke takes time to trust people, that's on him. I'm not going to sit here. You should trust people quicker. I have that issue at times in life. That's the person I am as well. I take if I'm speaking to someone, I don't nice person.
If I'm spending a couple of million quid on a player, I'm assuming he's of some level coming in though.
Yeah. But then, I don't know. But what's his level at training? He might not be doing the things he needs to. I don't know. Yeah. It's the trust things. I think that's his personality at the end of the day. Whether we agree with it or not, that's kind of who he is. A lot of top managers are like that. They take a long time to trust people. Bielsa. With the 21s before new players,
Go do 50 laps of the ground before.
If you get through them tests, then they go, right, you're for me. I don't know what Farke does. I don't know if he does that, but so I'm not gonna say he needs to change the way he trusts people. That's who he is at the end of the day. That's the way he's got to where he is. He's a very successful manager based on that. Again, at Norwich, he trusted 17, 18-year-olds in his fullbacks and his centre-back, and they got him promoted. So is the mentality different at Norwich with the pressure of the club and what they had to achieve as opposed to Leeds? There's so many different aspects that go into trusting someone. But I think it comes back down to, and you are right, if you've recruited this player, you've identified him, surely there has to be a level of, I trust this guy can do the job. So why not? Why is he not?
I trust you enough to give you a chance. And then it's up to you. I mean, I remember signing for a club.
For sure. I agree,
Yeah, I remember signing for a club that I didn't want to go to. I was at a club that I was happy at, but I'd been told I probably wasn't going to be the first choice striker the following season. Another club came in and I said, I don't want to go. Manager came up and had a chat with me. And I said to him, I want to play. And he said, well, all I can guarantee you is the number 9 shirt for the first game of the season. Then it's up to you. Yeah. And luckily enough, it worked out for me. But there was a thing there going, well, you're not going to have to come in here and slog it out on the bench for 6 months before I let you on the pitch. You've got the jersey for day one. Do what you can with it. If you don't, you're off. If you do, you're in. Your call.
Yeah. Imagine that were you, Joe, in Schmidt's position there. As a player, go back to them days. You'd be disheartened. You'd be like, I understand I'm not first in the pecking order.
Yeah. If I was still there and I was in the situation Schmidt has had with the options that have been missing, like, I mean, when he saw Junior Firpo get injured, he must have thought, bingo, there's my run. And he hasn't gotten it. And for it to be Verber, that's the first choice, who A is a centre-back naturally, B has caused problems at the club, and C has been injured this season, and even injured during Firpo being injured. If I was Schmidt, I'm looking to go. Like, I'm not sitting on the bench for that length of time and not being given an opportunity. I mean, if he doesn't start against Harrogate Town, there's a problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree. There's only no matter if you're a footballer or anything, in any sport, anything, not even in sport, in anything, you will be disheartened by certain things. If you're looking at this going, right, I'm going to play now, I'm going to play. I understand I'm fourth choice. I get that, and I'm going to work it. But when everyone's injured and you're going, right, this is it. This is the moment. And he turns around and goes, right, I'm going to change it up. You're coming on. And you sat there going, you will generally be thinking, when is my chance? The manager's telling me I'll get a chance. I need to keep training hard. This should have been it, surely. And it wasn't. And that will affect anyone, any person. It affects you. You wonder, when is it then? Look, exactly. It might just, I don't know, maybe he'll play next game and then we'll all shut up and then he'll play really well. You know what I mean? It could happen. Probably not, but it could. Maybe there is a thing with the injury, but, he said last week about he's still not right with the injury. It takes a while to get back to it. But the point being then, how long is that? And he didn't mention that in his last press conference about the injury. He just said it was a tactical thing. I feel for Schmidt. I do. I got it a few weeks ago, but at the point where we had no fullbacks left, and he preferred a midfielder and centre back over the fifth choice fullback. That'll harm the player. And hopefully he's mentally strong. And honestly, I hope that motivates him at training to go 20% better. Because I want him to play. I like him.
Pierre's be asking, when will the preview start? Pierre, you were late to the party as it was, mate, so you need to wait a second, right? But we will get to it. And just to reference this, also from Pierre, getting worse than at least one show with all the merch stuff. Listen, this is the job now. So, if you want to see more of this stuff, and if I get to do this on a regular basis, need to have outlets to bring stuff in for a job. I've got a mortgage to pay at the end of the day. So there you go. We are going to start the preview. Before that, there's one person I want to speak about. Lockie, you mentioned coming in that if Farke does decide to play with this back three option, and there's been rumours of Leeds being linked with quite a lot of centre-back. One, specifically a centre-back that you want to talk about as well, and was linked again today, is Nico Elvedi from Borussia Mönchengladbach. And I wanted to hand this over to you for your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one, because initially you mentioned the name and I think that's a Premier League signing.
Yeah.
That's how I think he's that level.
Over 300 appearances for Gladbach.
Yeah, ridiculously good player. Still playing a lot this season, not as much as he did in previous seasons, but he's still in around the squad. He's still playing.
Has said he wants to go, though.
Yeah. And he knows Farke. And we're relatively close to the Premier League. And if no Premier League team's willing to pay, he might think, I'll go down to the Championship for a few months. We'll be in the Premier League in 3 or 4 months. Boom. Knows the manager, has a good relationship with the manager. The problem is, or not the problem, the thing I'm thinking about this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can. He would not come to the Championship unless he's been told and promised you are playing, because he's that good. He is not coming to the Championship to sit on any bench. He is a starter, without doubt. Farke knows him, so there won't be that bedding in period. He knows exactly who he is, what he can do. This guy would start. I'm not just. I think he's better than both of our defenders. I think he is. He's a very good player. He's played for Switzerland how many times as well? He's a quality performer.
Yeah.
Experienced as well. So if this is a thing, I have a feeling, I could be wrong, he might put him on the bench. Is what it is. Just my thoughts. If
going to a 3 on the back, if he does come in, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sorry. If this is a thing, it's a 3 at the back. It has to be.
Yeah.
He's not dropping Strout. He's not dropping Rodon. It has to be 3 at the back. So is that something that he changed the game? Is he trying to slowly bring that into him? We did it in pre-season as well. We did play with 3 at the back in pre-season, and we looked quite good in the way. I know we're playing at the opposition, but the structure was good. So
yeah,
if it is real, I'm still not convinced. I know it was Bill who are relative, they're very credible, but is it just agents talking to them? Maybe he knows Farke, it's a good link. We'll see. But what I will say to end it off, if it is him, I honestly think it could be a back 3, unless Farke is just saying, hey, you're not going to convince him, Joe, unless you tell him he's starting, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, and I get that. The play in the last 2-3 weeks, Abdulkabir Kushanev has been linked with a move to Leeds, and he's a defender. Christophe Woe from RC Lens has been linked with a move to Leeds. He's also a centre-back. And so has Nico Elvedi been linked. Now, Team Talk exclusive say it's that Leeds want Elvedi. That's an exclusive. It's exclusive from Team Talk. James Marshman is planning on coming onto the channel in the next week or so to talk about January and what's going on at the club. James, obviously Leeds fan himself, but has agreed to come on and have a chat about the January window. So we'll get a bit more information on where they get their information from as well. But he is the player that's been talked about quite a lot. So maybe Farke is considering a different looking Leeds for the second half of the season, to not walk into the same problems we've walked into the first half of the season, set up with a back 3, wing backs, whatever else, and change the approach. Maybe go with 2 up top as well, which would help with 3 at the back. You could do that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, right now, all the noise is around the defender and nothing around anybody else. Yeah. So if there is anyone coming in, it looks like it might be a defender. But Lucky, let's get on to the preview for the Hull City away game. And we do have a game. And the reason we spent more time talking about everything else bar this game is because if we go through this on paper, this should be a home run for Leeds, and it should be a comfortable away day, because Hull City have the worst home record in the division, the 3rd bottom in the league all up, but in the home form table, they are rock bottom. They've won twice at home all year. They're missing 7 players coming into this, including 2 players Leeds looked at, Liam Miller and Balumi, who are 2 players Leeds had a little look at during the summer. Both of them are out for the rest of the season with ACL injuries, and they're missing a ton of other players with this. They have a 1-3, and everything on this says easy, comfortable away win for Leeds, Lockie? Or is it going to be another frustration night where we're just banging on a door hoping it falls in?
Probably. Yeah, let's be honest. I was about to say Balumi and Miller are good players. We need to be careful, but yeah, they're out. I mean, yeah, this should be one we win. I think we will, Joe. The last 2 away games were really good. I think we played well and we did what we needed to. I think this will be similar. I think it'll be very similar. I don't see a way in which they beat us unless we absolutely just fumble it and don't turn up at all and don't match the intensity. That's the first thing we've got to do away. We've got to dictate the tempo of the game and match the intensity off the ball as well. We do that, we win. And we did that in the last 2 away games. I thought we were really good. Yeah. You don't always have to play the best football away. You have to just match the home atmosphere, the intensity, and do your own thing. And we did that. I think it is Leeds. You're right, Justin. But we're different Leeds this season. We're top of the league. We are. Why not be a little more confident? Yeah, honestly, I know you're right. It's not much to say. I think we'll win the game. Again, coming off drawing in the last minute. Well, it wasn't the last minute. There were 10 minutes added on, but you know what I mean? The players want to react. And generally speaking, these lot are quite good at reacting from disappointments. So, I think we'll get
that's not much more optimistic, Justin. By the way, it's not slightly.
I'll take it though. We'll take it. So how is their block? Honestly, Vega, I don't know how their block is. They've got a new manager, Celes. I'm fairly sure he's from the Red Bull school.
Narrow.
Yeah. So I believe this might be a transition game where we win the ball back quick, exploit them wide areas maybe. But I've not seen him, so I don't know. But I'm fairly sure he used to play a style of that at Southampton. I'm not sure about now, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. You go through the information coming into the game. From Leeds' perspective, the question marks are around the fullback area. Jaden Bogle, Daniel Farkas said, had a dead leg, and that's why he came off, not a hamstring. That was the worry that looked like it was a hamstring problem.
Scared, yeah.
Yeah, but he should be fine, he said, for the game. Sam Byram likely to be rested if he was exhausted at half time. I'm going for Max Verber at left back because I think that's just what he'll do. Not necessarily what I want to see, but what he'll do. But the bigger question for me comes around the midfield. Do we see Ampadu Tanaka defensive pivot against the worst attacking team in the division? They have the least amount of goals scored all season of any team in the league and the worst home record. Does he go with a double sitting pivot? That's probably not going to be needed. Or does he persevere with Tanaka and Rothwell? Or even does he rest Tanaka and put Ampadu in there? Well, I feel he wants Ampadu on the team somewhere. And I think I'll try and force him into the team in this one.
Yeah, I'll stick him up top if he has to, wouldn't he?
Anyway.
Loves him. Yeah, they used to call Byram Farkas' son in all them interviews. I think it's Ampadu didn't like that. He wants to be his son now. So, yeah.
His kids, yeah.
Byram's going to get jealous. I don't know, Jay. For me, I'm pretty sure they play a 4-3-3, so that midfield actually might be quite important. I don't want us to get narrow. That's the problem with me. Yeah. So maybe Tanaka might be all right in that sense, just to any second ball, sniff them out, win it, move it forward. Big game for Aronson in that sense, though, because obviously with the overload in midfield that they will naturally have with 3 in there, he'll have to have a good role in there. So I think Ampadu starts just because of that central overload that they will have. Rothwell, Tanaka, honestly, I'm at the point where either or, I'm happy with. I like them both. I think they both bring their own different things to it. I'd like to see Rothwell get it and drive, make quick decisions. I'd like to see Tanaka just do what he does and just not lose the ball and keep it progressing. But for me, it's all about the movement of the front 4 in this one. When we win it back in midfield, where are we? Where's the movement? That's the key bit, and that's what we struggle with often. The movement when we do win it back is a little off. So Ampadu will play in the 6, I believe. I'm going to say, just for argument's sake, I think he'll go Tanaka. Yeah.
Okay.
But if it's Rothwell, fine by me. I don't care. Yeah.
I like Rothwell, Tanaka. They understand each other. They both know what their roles are. I think when Ampadu is in there, he likes to naturally go drop in deep and collect the ball, but Tanaka does that as well. So you end up with both of them dropping in and Tanaka playing left back. And I didn't like that against Derby. It didn't look right to me. The midfield looked off kilter completely. And I know it takes time for partnerships to build up, and they'll need to get used to each other to sort out those roles and responsibilities of who does what in there.
Yeah.
Until that happens, I would like to see Rotwell maybe continue in there, but I think it'll be Ampadu and Tanaka. The other question, Lockie, is what does he do in the wide areas? I have a sneaky feeling he goes James and Nonto, and I don't know why, because Manor Solomon's been excellent for us. I would start Solomon. The substitutions, a lot of people have questions around the substitution. It wasn't as big an issue. I thought Rothwell coming off was a bigger problem than Solomon coming off just because of the shape of the team. What would you do in those wide areas? He's got so many good options. Or does he just bypass both of them and put Ramazani back in for a start? Like he's due a run as well at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all brilliant, aren't they? That's the issue with this. They're all very good. Who do you drop? But I'll just go informed, Joe, I think. I do think Solomon and James are the informed ones. However, they both played 2 games in a row now, started with the busy schedule. One could be rested. James wasn't quite on it. Could be a rest, give you a few days off to come back fully energized. Solomon, again, we know his injuries. We don't want to overdo it. So you could see a Nonto on that side. When was the last, 3 or 4 days? So, don't know. It's a tough one. I don't think Ramazani's played enough to get a start yet. And to be honest, I think when he came on, I can't remember, was it the other day? I can't remember which game it was. Was it Derby? I don't think he looked good. I think he looked rusty, slower than usual, hesitant. Yeah, I think he's got 3 or 4 more weeks till he's fully fit. Yeah, I don't think he's there. But look, I, again, could be surprised. But I'll stick with this injuries, though, the overload. Oh, I'll just stick with it. Dan James, Solomon, yeah. I'll stick with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it, Lockie. I mean, especially for this game, there's no real danger to talk about. I mean, if you want to know what their best players are and where they are,
they're all injured.
The top goal scorer is Joe Galvo. He's got 4 goals. And then you've got Mohamed Baloumi on 4, and he's not playing. So he's out of the team. But their best player is 4, and their third best striker is Liam Miller, who's also out of the game. So, I mean, the only one they've got is Joe Galvo up front, who scored 4 goals in 20-odd games. And that's it. That's it. Now, what I should say, one big thing about this game is that Hull will continue the tradition of pausing for the moment for Chris and Kev as well, to remember them. So that's a lovely thing for them to do, especially in a local derby as well. So very nice to see that. Lockie, what do you think score-wise on this? I'm going 4-0 Leeds.
Yeah, I was going to say that, mate. Yeah, might be cocky and arrogant of us, but don't care. 4-0. It's just go beat them. Go get top of that league and put some more pressure on. Make that goal difference even better, because it looks really good.
It really does. It really does.
Or whatever it is. Love it.
Yeah. Right, we'll start wrapping things up. There is a live watch along tomorrow over on Big Up, details down below. And I'm going to plug it again because I have to now. There is merch available over on Back 4, along with other Leeds United merch and other channels merch as well, should be said. But they're all there. If anyone wants to go check them out and support the channel, link is down below. You can do that. Very much appreciated. More stuff coming in the future. So if you like that kind of stuff, we'll do that. The warm-up will be out at 8 a.m. in the morning as well for your stats and data pack to get you ready for the game. And then at 2:30 over on Big Up, I will be live to do the watch along for the game. If you want to join me for a chat, do. And then we'll do a phone in straight after that as well. So anyone who's watching that, who wants to come on screen and be involved in the conversations after the game, all you got to do is be on the platform, send me a request. I'll bring you in. Job done. Really simple and easy. And we can have a chat after the game. That'll be it from me. Lockie, anything going on over in your channel, and what do you want to wrap us up with today?
Yeah, I've just done a video on McAtee and Buendia, and McAtee's just been linked with Bayer Leverkusen, so I'm glad I said in the video it ain't happening. Good time.
It's the other way.
Yeah, so if people don't mind, go watching that. And I did it. It's in the same video. The second half of it is about the squad depth that we touched on today, just in detail, about square pegs round holes. And there is transfer content coming next week. I've just been really busy with work, but that will be coming. Transfer video. Yeah,
great. And then just a quick update from us for transfer stuff. Ben Jacobs will be joining us on the, I'm going to give me dates right here. I think it's the 14th, Tuesday the 14th. Ben Jacobs will be on the channel to talk about transfers. And James Marshman from Team Talk as well has agreed to pop on as well. So we're just sorting out the logistics of that. And hopefully he will be on Tuesday coming is the plan, to have James on for a chat about that as well. So more stuff coming you can check out as we get into the busier period of January. Nothing will happen before the 4th of January, according to Daniel Farke. Get this game out of the way and we'll see what happens then. I'll talk us about defenders. We'll see if he decides to go for a 10 as well. Lockie, massive thank you as always for taking time out of your day to spend it with us and have a chat. And thanks to everyone in the chat for getting involved tonight as well. We will talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Cheers, Lockie. See you. Bye.